Welcome to Film Talk Weekly Radio. This is your guest host, Castle, with the Santa Fe International Film Festival. And I'm here today with Angelique Paull, New Mexico native, born in
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque. I
Yep.
met Angelique through the Santa Fe International Film Festival, actually, in the last couple years, I feel like
Yeah.
you've been
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Just brief recap. Angelique is a 20-year plus costume professional working in film and television, and we're going to get into way more detail on that. But describe yourself, Angelique.
Thanks, Castle. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything you said is true. Working with multiple budgets, anything ranging from a, independent or a 48-hour film all the way up to huge blockbuster type of features, Marvel films, things like that, and everything in between, television and films alike. And basically, I have gotten the privilege to be able to work in pretty much every role in the costume department. I started as a PA here in New Mexico right when the tax incentives first happened. That was really, really fortuitous because I was planning to move to LA and, try my hand in costumes out there. And it actually turned out that I was able to start working here and become part of a really thriving community of filmmakers. So it's been really, really cool to continue that. And then also get to travel and work throughout the country and also shoot abroad as well.
So is this always what you wanted to do then?
It's funny you ask that. I feel like little me literally would play dress up like it was my job. And
Uh-huh.
I mean that completely seriously. I would have fashion shows with some of my best friends and basically give my family scorecards. And I would set it up to music and different things and come up with this whole thing of different looks. And they'd have to do a scorecard of what each outfit was, on a scale of 1 to 10. And it was really fun, getting to do that. My poor brother and sister as well. I have a younger brother and sister. They were basically my living dolls, So I think it's no surprise to anyone that I grew up in essence to be a professional, like to do dress up professionally. Dress
Mm-hmm.
up. There's so much more to costumes than that.
Right.
But it is kind of funny that is something that, once I kind of got into it, I was like, wow, I really can get paid to do this. So
Yeah.
yes, I have always wanted to do this.
Yeah. Cool. What did you go to school for?
So I went to school at UNM and I started actually as a theater major. At first, there was a point in my life where I was definitely in children's theater and kind of more on stage and that type of thing. And then again, as there were more film classes that started to happen and, kind of things happening, it was just beginning. I actually transitioned more to doing film and still doing, occasional film sort of classes and things like that, or not film theater, but I had a professor that took me under her wing and really kind of helped me create a degree that would serve me in the future. That's, I guess now would be considered university studies, but the programs that they have presently for students learning film are phenomenal, and just even the access that they have to different tools and all sorts of things that are actual real set tools and sets and Z-Racks and all that stuff are phenomenal. I was just speaking at CNM last week and a couple months ago at UNM, and it's really amazing to see how it's grown since I started where there was nothing,
Yeah.
or very little, not nothing, but very little.
Yeah. So are you a teacher or you're a guest speaker?
So I was a guest speaker for one of them, and another one, kind of a guest teacher of sorts. And then I've also taught some classes with our union, the local 480. So yeah, definitely bringing it full circle, because I remember getting to meet people that, I got to speak and ask all the different questions of. And so I like to pay it forward, especially since I'm born and raised here. I feel it's really important to have mentors or to have people that are accessible that
Sure.
you can, talk to about something you're interested in doing, because it
Yeah.
isn't the most traditional life.
Right. Yeah. And you do this full time. This is what you do.
Full time. Yep.
Yes.
full time. This is what I've done my entire life. Well, not entire life, but you know,
Yeah.
most of my adult life. I think this is my 22nd year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I see all the clothes behind you. Is that wardrobe? Is that these are costumes?
Yeah, so a lot of these pieces are vintage pieces from different eras and things that are kind of more part of a curated collection of things that I have found on my own. I definitely was kind of a local independent costume house of sorts for many, many years. And so
Awesome.
I'm presently in the process of sorting and categorizing and organizing my kit is basically what it's called. Sometimes when you are booked for a project, you get asked for very random things. And after a while, you know what type of things you need to hold on to. Things,
Hmm.
whether they be in a unique size or a pattern or something that's really indicative of an era, it's worthwhile to hold on to those things so that that way you have them at your hand. So I jokingly say, it's like you have a tool shed or, like a workshop that has metric and standard and, all the different sizes of every type of wrench and, all of that sort of thing. So when people see all of my different costume pieces, they ask, why do you have that? I said, it's kind of like that. These are all
Yeah.
different tools.
Do you ever take interns?
Yeah, definitely.
I want to be your intern.
Sure. I would love to have you as my intern. I think you'd be
Oh, it's
fantastic.
so awesome.
You have amazing style. You have a great eye for style. I've seen you.
I
I've seen you
have
in all the
quite a
best.
collection of my own, I would
Yes.
say. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Yeah, and that's really the hierarchy of kind of how film works is you start as an intern. A lot of times, whether it's on independent projects, just with students, fellow students, or, just pieces that you wouldn't even, really know if they're ever gonna go anywhere. But yeah, and then becoming a PA or a production assistant is kind of the next route. It's both film to me is both extraordinarily hierarchical. I call it the creative military sometimes,
oh,
but then also it's controlled chaos. It's like there's so many variables every single day. I've had scenes that are shot for an entire week, and within that week it snows, and all the characters are in clothes that are supposed to look like the middle of July. And
yeah.
then you have to figure out how are you going to keep these people warm, but also make it still look like July
Yeah,
as the art department and set deck are melting ice with a blowtorch off the ground.
totally. What's your title like if we see your name on credits?
Great question. So the costume department is quite large, and anything from costume designer to assistant designer, costume supervisor, those are technically the roles that you're going to see me in. Sometimes I will do something called age or dyer for something that's a smaller project that tends to be something that's more, where you're taking things that are brand new looking or even things that have been worn and you're giving them life, you're giving them a story by aging them, whether it's ripping, shredding, adding dirt, or dyeing them. So that's where that comes from.
Cool.
But yeah, typically speaking, I have been doing costume supervising for quite a while, I believe at least 15 to 18 years, something like that, which is kind of like being the producer of the costume department. It's almost like a creative producer role.
Hmm.
And then most recently, really stepping into the assistant costume design role, which is, and that's for bigger budget films. It's almost like being the external hard drive for the costume designer because costumes we film out of order. So I jokingly say if you like Sudoku, you will probably love costumes because
Hmm.
everything is kind of, this connects here to this and that, and you have to have a brain that enjoys a puzzle and enjoys to kind of that sort of thing. So as an assistant costume designer, you're also there making sure that, all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, everything is just completed, and you're dealing a lot with interfacing with the stunts and with the actual lead actors as well. You're there in every fitting for the most part. So, and then I've designed films out in Sicily, in
Ah,
Italy. I've designed different smaller like independent films here in New Mexico and in the Pacific Northwest. And then I've gotten to work on some really fun 48-hour films and even won best costume design before. So yeah, I would say the role varies. in this, or excuse me, the title varies, but the department does not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you sew?
I do so, yeah.
Mhm.
I would say that that's kind of something that's interesting within the costume department because people are so specialized in what they do. We typically tend to have a full tailor shop. So the best way I can describe it is the role of the costume designer or even ACD or different parts. A lot of times you are actually helping create the vision that has been agreed upon by, let's say, the director or the producers, the writer, that sort of thing, whether it's a color palette or inspiration, that sort of look, and of course, the other creative departments. So basically, with that, there is an aspect of your job is actually to be bringing these characters to life. And it's kind of like an architect and a contractor, like a general contractor. So as a ACD or assistant costume designer, or even as a designer, you typically don't have the time to sit and sew everything from scratch, but you are extraordinarily involved in the process of how things are being built. But a lot of times, especially at the beginning of projects, we are doing back-to-back fittings, and we have racks and racks to fit and create the world for this one character. And this is our one moment to get to see them sometimes. So once that happens, it's like notes, notes, notes. Here we go. This needs to happen here. This needs to be turned this color. This needs to be taken in, shortened. We need to create this thing from scratch. And so there's a whole process of how things are delegated within the department. The department can be anything from as few as 3 people on a smaller project to as many as 50
Mhm.
people or more on a really large budget. But it averages between 25 to 35 people.
I have so many questions.
I have
This
so
is
many answers.
this is going to be an all-day interview, just so you know. Um, I mean, so I'm sure I know it's a really complicated process, but like in a nutshell, like, well, first of all, you work for yourself, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they find you through, you probably recommendations, word of mouth, and so on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's typically word of mouth. Film is very much word of mouth. And or sometimes it'll be, through IMDb, but it's still
Mhm.
kind of word of mouth that somebody hears about you. Or occasionally they'll find out through the union because they have the roster of everyone.
Mhm.
So yeah, but it's typically word of mouth.
And so you get hired on a film, and the first steps, like, I'm sure you read the script, there's probably like storyboards or like, well, how does the process go? Like in a nutshell,
Yeah.
like,
So from my costume supervising sort of brain, basically I will receive a call, and within that time period, it's normally I receive that call from the costume designer. So the costume designer is the president, let's say, I'm the vice president. So I'm helping create a team that has the best skill set for the job, whatever that job may be. So if I know people are really good at identifying periods or things like that, then they're going to be somebody who's probably going to be one of our fitters or someone who's able to help create the look. So that's one part of things. Then the script comes through, and there is a script breakdown that needs to happen. And that is actually prior to us even receiving storyboards. That is something that I would typically do to see how many changes are we looking at for each character? How long is the scope for each of their, looks? How many seasons are we going through? How many decades? How many different flashbacks? All of that sort of thing. And so basically that's the very brainy part of things and kind of getting the picture clear as to what we
mhm.
actually need. And then myself and the designer would go through that and really see, oh, okay, we need this many of this, we need this many of that. And then we would bring up our questions. There could be rain sequences, there could be fight sequences, there could be all kinds of things. So yeah, so that's kind of like the initial part of things before any sort of storyboard is handed over or any sort of character is shopped for.
Let's see, what else? I just have so many questions. Let's see. So, what is like what's been like a really challenging, let's say not challenging in a bad way, but challenging, rewarding project or like,
I mean, I don't want to I don't want to go cliche, but it's going to sound it because there is kind of an element of every film project is a virtual impossibility. I feel I read an article somewhere, but, that said that when you take the calculated amount of people and hours, man days, all of that, and you figure it out with what needs to be done. Somehow it's actually never calculates out to possible. So every project has its element of, wow, that was extraordinarily challenging. Whether it's looking for an all-white tennis outfit in the middle of December,
Uh-huh.
or, looking for a very specific hunting coat, a hunting jacket that needs to be from a certain period and trying to figure out how you're going to build it or make it in a certain time. And there's no option for no. You have to deliver. That's period. If you don't have what is requested, you give options and they must be good options. So there's definitely a like a challenge aspect to everything. And then there's also that kind of high or not high, it's more of just that feeling of accomplishment,
Hmm.
when you've come through on something, you're like, wow, we did it. Look at that.
Yeah.
600 people dressed in this scene. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. 600, 600 people running around creating this look on camera right now.
I mean, it must be, so you've been doing this like 22 years. It's gotta, so many things have changed. Like your ability to search for what these looks are, or like the history, the ability to buy them online. Like, what was it like back in the early days of your career? Like,
Yeah.
what did you do? Go to the library?
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, yes. Honestly,
Yeah.
yes. So hearkening back to little Angelique, little AC, that's me. I would just voraciously read books, picture books of the timeline of the history of costume, the history of clothing, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
then when it got to me actually doing this as a job, of course, my first resource, if I got a call for a job in a certain era that I didn't know immediately offhand, was to rent books.
Mhm.
And, same sort of thing. You become almost an immediate, like you need to know everything through and through quite quickly. And if you don't, you find people who can be resources for that too. So I spent a lot of time at different vintage boutiques, different vintage stores in Albuquerque, off Broadway, places like that. And you make friendships and connections with people who have even broader scopes because sometimes that niche is needed. And it's beautiful to be able to learn all these things. And not only during that, you find out like small things like, oh, okay, when was the zipper invented? Great. This part in the script, we can't have anyone that has an obvious zipper. It needs to be buttons only along
Mhm.
this side of the dress, or, and it swaps to decades, or, just the little nuances within that.
I'm
So,
guessing those things come naturally to you, like because you love it,
yeah,
obviously. Like you can just remember all these things and absorb all these things. I can tell.
yeah, yeah.
Like it's not like hard for you to study for these things.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
If anything, yeah, I might become too interested in it. And then, it's like, oh, yes, this hem is incorrect for this time. And, a certain sort of thing where you become a specialist, but then you also have to kind of let the production know. And they go, yes, but everything that's filmed during the contemporary times, but it's based on a period from before, there's always a little touch of kind of the storyline looking a little bit modern in some way, shape, or form. If you go back to Cleopatra with, what is it, Liz
Hmm.
Taylor, I think, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, like that was definitely a look of probably Cleopatra of what, the 60s.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
Right.
who knows if it's actually accurate,
Right.
And so there's always like little things that harken to the time period that it's actually shot in, even though people are definitely trying to stay as close as possible to what the look is.
Well, that's like the other thing with the internet and like everything that's changed over the years is like people are probably fact checking you too, or like, just like how people love to find like, flaws and things, and like it's easier to do with the internet, and then it's easier to comment on it anonymously, so it's like you probably can't get away with what you could back in Liz Taylor times, even.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably true. And I would say, yeah, way, way, way back, there's probably less people that are able to reply as quickly. But
Yes.
even now, I feel like the resources are a little bit more limited, and people don't always click on the full article, with
Yes,
the
true.
picture. they're like, this
True.
is wrong or this is accurate. And they bring a picture in and go, this is what we want. You're like, this is not from the era that we're shooting.
Yeah.
And, that can be kind of an
I guess
interesting
I mean
conversation.
trolls, like trolls out there, like,
I
like they didn't have zippers then, like it's just the critics or like the, amateur critics out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're constantly trying to explain too, like you can put something on camera that existed previously. You can't put something that existed beforehand. So, like unless you're filming Back to the Future, I guess. But let's say something is very, very obviously from 1960 or 1975, and you're shooting in 1942. You
Mm-hmm.
really can't put that on. But
Mm-hmm.
let's say you're shooting in 1980, you could have like maybe a grandmother character or somebody that,
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit more mature wearing
Yeah,
something that's still from the 60s. I mean, most people have clothes in their closet from at least 10 or 15 years ago. If
I do.
you have everything modern, that's weird, right?
It would be weird. Yeah, you're right.
I
Most,
do.
yes, I do. I mean, my sister and I, we have clothes from high school still. Like,
Exactly.
totally. With the Santa Fe International Film Festival coming up on October 15th through 20th. Will you be there, Angelique?
I plan to be. Yeah, I'd love to be there again this
You've
year.
been a great addition to the festival, so everyone can look for you there. We've got 6 days this year. Our shorts are eligible for Oscar submission,
So exciting.
the winning shorts. So lots of cool stuff happening.
I love the fest. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You said you've acted. Have you done any acting?
I have.
Like,
Yeah, I have.
you must
Um,
get thrown into the project sometimes, like that you're costuming.
yeah, it's funny. I think it happened earlier on when I was, just starting, but I feel as though there's a few cameos,
Yeah.
there was a TV show called Wildfire. If somebody
Okay.
watches that, they'll see me there. And also in the TV series Manhattan, if you
Okay.
watch that, there I have a scene with Rachel Brosnahan,
Cool. Uh-huh.
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Yes.
There's a lot of people
Cool.
know her from that and Manhattan TV series and yeah, a couple things, different projects, but a lot of times I'm behind camera or doing things like this
Yeah. So
because
you'd like to be behind the scenes.
I'm open to both, but
Yeah.
acting is its own skill and everything, and yes, I decided to kind of go behind the scenes more,
Yeah.
but it is fun to occasionally be on camera.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us about some of the projects you've worked on. I've got this long list and it's like really good stuff. Most recently, Dark Winds, which I love that show.
Yeah.
Just tell us about some of the things. List the projects.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it film style, so I'll do maybe some reverse chronological order.
Okay.
We do. It's how we do for our resumes and things like that. So
Okay.
yes, like you said, most recently, I was on Dark Winds season 4, and that was really wonderful filming just outside of Santa Fe and set in the 70s. So that's a really fun time period. I love working in that time period. Super, super fun. Did a lot
Hmm.
of fittings, brought a lot of things to life. Very, very cool looks, but it's also not out yet, so I can't say much more. So
Okay.
yeah, so that definitely, but yeah, stay tuned. It's gonna be great. You should watch it.
Cool. Okay. So
Um,
season 4 is where you started.
season 4,
Okay.
yeah. Prior to that, I was working on another series called The Burrows, and is by the same brothers, the Duffer brothers from Stranger Things,
Okay.
and basically helping create that world. We have, all these different aspects and different looks, and whether it's different color palettes in different places, or keeping like the same sort of eye in certain places to tell the story. A lot of times people don't even realize that's happening subconsciously, but that was a lot of what, was being created on the Burrows and what I was part of, and that was really, really fun.
Is that out?
Um, that's not out yet either, but
Okay.
it will be. So it's like it's interesting because I can speak a little bit, but I can't speak a
Uh-huh.
lot, but also at
Yeah.
the same time, I'm, really proud of what we've been creating and filming, and it's definitely some fun stuff, great things to watch. and see New Mexico too, because New Mexico photographs so beautifully.
Yes.
So
Yes.
beautifully. And then, yep, let's see. Before that, Ransom Canyon was a Netflix
Yes.
series, and that's with Josh Duhamel and Minka Kelly, and a really beautiful cast. Literally and figuratively, we jokingly call it a handsome canyon.
Yes.
Everybody on it is quite stunning, both on the inside and on the outside, So, and then, and then prior to that,
Where is that filmed?
oh, that's filmed here in New Mexico as well.
Okay.
At the new Netflix lot. Netflix had built a really amazing studio and super state of the art, really, really lovely. One of the most lovely studios I feel like I've worked at. So
And we can
yeah.
watch that, right? That is
Yeah, so that one is out. Yep,
okay.
first season's out. It had hit number one on Netflix for a couple months, I
I've heard a
think.
lot about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of, I think of the Yellowstone genre, maybe a little bit of
Yes.
Dallas thrown in, that sort of
Yes, I've
thing.
heard the Dallas reference for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but it's
cool.
fun. It's a really fun one. Yeah, and then I would say maybe some other highlights of different things. I did another series called Manhattan,
Hmm.
which was also filmed in New Mexico. That's actually more along the lines similar to Oppenheimer, the Manhattan Project and making of the atomic bomb. And that was probably one of my all-time favorite ones. I love working on things in the 30s and 40s. Like that
Hmm.
genre of clothing is really phenomenal, and the pieces are still like in really great condition, honestly. So
Hmm.
that one was really, really fun. I did some consulting and some work with the military costume department on Oppenheimer. Um,
Cool.
so yeah, and then I think Manhattan was on Hulu, I want to say. And right
Okay.
when Oppenheimer came out, that show like resurged again. I want to say is number two or something like that on Hulu because people were just looking for content like that. They're like stoked on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely check that series out as well. And then, I always wanted to work on a superhero movie, and I got the chance to work on two. So yeah, that was really fun. One of them was Thor, the very first Thor for Marvel, and with Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman and Tom Hiddleston. And then I got to work on the very first Avengers. So that one was a trip. It was one of the largest films shooting in the country, if not the world, at the time. And I was a costume supervisor on that and worked in New Mexico and got to travel to different places and shoot with them as well. But that one was pretty hush hush while we were filming it. I mean, my family and friends had no idea what I was doing for a year. They kept on saying, "What are you working
Wow.
on?" I was like, "I can't tell you.
You're
I
like the
really can't tell you."
CIA.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, totally,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, it was kind of funny, I would get calls, for things of like, hey, this person needs to be caped or, that sort of thing, because even just walking from one studio building to the next, you could not have the costume be shown, there's paparazzi and things like that. So I don't know, maybe there's a world where I'm in a couple paparazzi shots. I don't know. I have some friends
Probably.
who are for sure. It's really the
Probably.
set costumers who are. I'm kind of like even more behind the scenes than set. So yeah, those have all been really fun.
Like on the superhero movies, like are you working on the superhero costumes? You're working on the other costumes or like everything?
I mean, it really, because the need for things is everything all at once.
Hmm.
And so it can be anything from helping make sure that the amount of yardage is getting, shipped in for additional capes for Thor and for his stunt in different fabrics based off of if he's, on a specific wire for the stunt work or, that sort of thing, something to flow better. So it could be something like that one day. It could be we had to dress roughly 600 people to look like it was Calcutta, India. So we did fittings for weeks and weeks, and I actually learned multiple ways to tie saris and dhotis
Hmm.
and helped to, train the fitters so that way we could have a variety of people for those scenes. And we had, just like the amount of fittings that were happening every single day. It was like a full team fitting for 12 hours a day. To get
Wow.
to 600 people is many, many hours if you're calculating about 45 minutes to an hour per person.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of logistics, a lot of moving parts. But again, like I said, it's like the kind of like beautiful Sudoku sort of, if you love a puzzle, if you want to, fill in this space goes here, connect the dots here. I have a very Tetrisy mind too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so all of this to me is like, ooh, fun, but also very challenging.
Yes. And like, so do you work full time? Like, do you have breaks throughout the year? Like, what does your life look like?
That's a great question. Recently, there's been, I would say, a little bit more ups and downs in the industry based off of, writer strike, around COVID, things shut down as well. But typically speaking, it is kind of one of those things where you can get called for back-to-back projects. And there's been points in my life where I have just gone show to show to show, and sometimes there's an overlap even of a couple days or something like that. And then there's other times where you get a little bit more downtime. So sometimes you can have a month off or a couple weeks or even 3 months and sometimes longer. But yeah, for the most part, in kind of more typical times, things can be quite steady in a place where there's a lot of film, or New Mexico has had a lot of film. But yeah, presently it has been a little bit slower, but I've been very, very lucky and very grateful to stay continuously working for a fair amount of this time. So I'm very grateful for that.
Hmm. You've worked abroad, you said.
Hmm.
Where have you gone?
Yeah, so that was one of my dreams, being a gal from Albuquerque, Burque.
Hmm.
All I wanted to do, I wanted to go travel and I want to get it paid for it and I wanted to go do what I loved. And so one of my first experiences was working out in Sicily for a independent film that was shot out there. It was, I think the final name for it was called War Story, and
Okay.
is with Catherine Keener and Sir Ben Kingsley.
Okay.
So I costume
Cool.
designed that. I think it went to Sundance actually.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I love
yeah,
her. I love both of them.
yeah, yeah. So that was a really special opportunity to do that.
Where in Sicily?
We were in a little town called Caltanissetta. It's kind of near Catania, but we
Okay.
got to shoot all over the island. And one of the classes that I took in college was Latin because I also minored in classical studies because, I was hoping that Rome, the TV show, would go forever and ever, and then I could use my film knowledge and that knowledge, and then I could just work on Rome. And they say like men think about the Roman Empire all the time. I
I
maybe think
know.
about the Roman Empire too.
I've heard
Okay.
that. Yeah. I have Latin on my Duolingo. I did it
Yes,
yesterday.
it
Yeah.
helps so much. So yeah, so when I went to Sicily, I got to practice my Italian, which I had kind of taught myself based off of the knowledge that I knew from Latin, and also
Hmm.
because it's kind of so close to Spain and like that whole Gulf down there, there's a certain kind of like Spanish like influence to
Hmm.
the language down there, which is cool.
My family's from Sicily, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Where?
about an hour southwest of Palermo,
Uh-huh.
Gibolina and Campobello di Mazzara. I'm actually an
Wow.
Italian citizen as of
Oh my gosh. Oh,
yes, yes.
so
So
lucky.
I'm studying my Italian as well. Yeah,
I love it. I
I
love it.
know. I love it
Yeah.
there. It's been a while since I've been, but
Yeah.
all my relatives are there. So
Yeah. Well, keep that citizenship. That's like, I mean,
yes,
que bello.
yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah, so that was a really fun experience. And then other than that, I worked on a series called Turn, which was based during the Revolutionary War. And I really love historical military costume,
Hmm.
just the small details, the trying to make sure that everything is put together, correctly for different regiments or, different countries, things like that. All the tiny trims or button differences and things like that. And studying
Hmm.
that is really fascinating to me.
Hmm.
And so for that series, we had the different armies, whether it was the Redcoats or the Patriots, the French soldiers, German, all of these different ones. So
So
for
fun.
that, we would go out to the different costume houses in England as well as Spain. And then I would actually fly out to Poland. There's a really amazing military costume house out there.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and I would spend a fair amount of time helping recreate all these different regiments that
Ah,
didn't really exist, like in the sense of at a costume house or something like that to rent. And they have a military historians on on their crew, or not even crew,
Mhm.
but team at that costume house. And so that was
In a
really,
costume house, like, are regular people allowed in or just you?
uh, I mean, a regular person, perhaps if they were with a costumer, could possibly go, but
Uh-huh.
typically it is more of a place for industry professionals or wardrobe stylists.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes around Halloween, like in LA especially, Western costume will sometimes do rentals to the general public. But yeah, the costume houses are unreal. They are
I
literally
think I just go crazy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Warehouses like
Yeah.
the size of Walmart or
Yeah.
bigger. Costco.
Wow.
Let's go with
Yeah.
Costco. Yeah.
Yeah.
The size of
Wow.
Costco at times with racks, 2, 3 stories high of costumes from every era. And
Yeah.
it's yeah, all categorized,
Oh
all
my God.
barcoded oftentimes
Sure.
barcoded. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of detail.
Yeah. I know you also have a product line, or you have workwear. Yes?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you're a
basically.
fashion designer as well.
Yeah, so I'm a jumpsuit enthusiast.
Me too.
Love them. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Like the perfect piece of clothing.
Yes.
It's like you put it on, you're done. A lot of times for film, our hours are a little bit bonkers. We go into work when it's dark, come home when it's dark, and you still have to look good and put together, but you need pockets for your walkie-talkie, for your cell phone, for safety pins, tags, Sharpies, la 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 la
Everything.
la,
Yeah.
all these things, right? So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I had this idea for a long time, and we also wear set belts a lot, with all the other tools and things. And so I had this idea for a long time that I wanted to make a jumpsuit that you did not have to take off completely to go to the loo, or as we call
Yes.
it,
That's
one.
the dilemma, the
Yeah.
jumpsuit dilemma.
Yeah. And
Yes.
and ironically, I as I made it and designed it, I had probably over 100 different fit models. So, and in general, I would say over the years I've probably fit at least 20,000 people, if not more, in my life. If I calculate how many over the years, it's got to be at least that. So utilizing that knowledge and
Yes.
utilizing actual fit models created what is a unisex jumpsuit that I call the 1Z, like the letter or the number one, the letter Z. And my brand is called Weld Workwear, and that's WELLD. So like a well-made thing, well constructed, a job well done, but it's a done. And yeah, that's been a passion project of mine that I have started, and I do micro batch onesies or jumpsuits with a zipper that has a design patent pending on it. That sounds like it's gonna come through hopefully soon.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
Called WizTech. So that's a little
Whiz
waistline.
tech.
Yeah, WizTech, waistline hinge innovative zipper technology.
Yes.
Love an acronym.
Yes.
Like just like Nike, I didn't realize that like a lot of their stuff has like an acronym that goes with the different, I don't know, different aspects of it. I'm trying to think, of course, now, like, even like the SBs, skateboarding, blah, blah, blah. But dry fit, that's an acronym,
Oh,
DRIFIT,
oh,
so
okay.
yeah, Whiz Tech,
Yes.
Mumsy, Weld, Workwear. Anyway,
Yes.
naming things is interesting. It's a funny thing. Obviously, I seem to like alliteration. That seems
Mm-hmm.
to be a thing. But yeah, so that's been really fun to do. And it's a garment that's, I like to say it's made for makers by makers, because whether you're a filmmaker or an artist or someone who identifies, as a maker in the sense of just working with your hands or, creative sort of projects and things, a photography, shoot or things like that, you don't know exactly what you're going to be doing throughout that day. Your day can be
Right.
so varied, it's in the morning, you can show up on set and be out in the elements and out in the cold. And then by the middle of the day, you're in the production office having a meeting and need to be presentable. And then afternoon, could be like working with totally different, sort of set of skills and getting dirty or, dyeing things. Who knows? So I'm just speaking my own experience, of course. There's so many different types of makers. Yeah. So I've been working on that in between projects and yeah, it's really fun.
It
So,
sounds like the jumpsuit that covers it all,
yeah, yeah,
literally.
exactly. Yeah. So, Yeah, and I got the opportunity to kind of start it right when the industry shut down during 2020. So,
Okay.
there's I get the opportunity to create characters and all these different, looks and bring stories to life that are on a page, but having a idea, that's kind of been in my mind for decade, probably a dozen years or so,
Hmm.
and really just saying, okay, I'm going to do this. Started it, kind of co-started it with another costumer for a while, and it's just, yeah, it's been really interesting to like bring something to life from a different perspective than, oh, we're only making 200 of these uniforms. Now it's like your brain has to think differently of like making something multiple times over, forever. So
Forever.
that's
Do you have
cool.
any in stock right now?
Presently, I am looking to do more of a pre-order
Okay.
style. And that's kind of the way that I'm keeping it a little bit smaller, like the micro batch style, where
Right.
it goes pre-order and I'll notify people when that happens. And then, you make your order and
Should
go
we
from
get on
there.
your mailing list or follow you on Instagram?
Yeah, you could find me on Instagram. The Instagram is We Are Weld, and it's again WeAreweld. So
Okay.
yeah, IG
Okay.
at We Are Weld. And I also have the ability to sign up for the, what do you call it, the mailing list on weldworkwear.com.
Okay.
So
Great.
either of those will get you kind of
I will
in
do.
that vicinity. And
I will do that.
yeah. And as a true creative, I am continuously readapting and figuring out, okay, I want to do branding colors this way and things like that. So, you know,
Hmm.
be kind in that sense because it's
I'm
a
sure
tiny little Phoebe company,
I'm
but
guessing you've thought of everything with it.
small but mighty. Yeah. And of
Yes.
course the highly detailed skills goes into all the creative
Well, the
aspects of
most
the
important thing
company.
is going to the bathroom. That's the only thing that ever keeps me from wearing a onesie, you know?
100%. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's the funny thing too. I mean, truly it is unisex. It's for all bodies. And that's the other part too, is that even when I started designing, I was like, oh, okay, maybe design it a little bit more, specific one way. And then multiple people started wearing it. They're like, everyone kind of needs it at some point during the day. It's not
Hmm.
just one type of person.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So all bodies need a break.
Yes. What else are you working on or thinking about?
So presently I do have a little bit of downtime, which it feels really nice. I am just getting a chance, like I said, to kind of go through and catalog some of the pieces that I have and working on that. And in the meantime, I would say getting to catch up on films that I haven't gotten to see. I love going to like the smaller theaters, whether it's the Guild here in Albuquerque, the Jean Cocteau up in Santa Fe,
Yeah.
and just, catching a film because
Yeah.
that's the other part too, is that, I've always been inspired by filmmaking and seeing what else is out there. And so sometimes when we're working 12 or 14-hour days, you don't always, get that chance. But in between
Right.
projects, that's when I can catch up and get to watch things, which is really fun and get to see how other people's projects have come together.
Yeah. And what have you not worked on that you want to? What kind of
Mm,
period or piece or like
great question.
genre?
Great question. Well, definitely something ancient, like ancient Rome, ancient
Okay.
Greece,
Yeah, ancient Rome.
Mesopotamia, that sort of thing. It would be
Yes.
really cool. I would love that. I mean, yeah, I've done the superhero, futuristic, post-apocalyptic, you know, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, current contemporary 2000s, all those. So I would say maybe something Edwardian.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done Edwardian. I also, funny enough, I think I would really love to do a movie like Rudy, like something like
Rudy?
a sports, yeah, a
Yes.
sports team movie.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But or maybe more like Leatherheads, that film with Clooney, something like that, because
I
I think
haven't
putting
seen
those,
Leatherheads.
or I would say something like highly stylized, sort of something like a Wes Anderson type of project or a Wes Anderson project.
Yeah, for
You know,
example. Yeah.
that for example. Yeah, that would be
Okay,
really
let's
cool.
put it out there. All of these wishes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Genres. Yeah.
that's such a good question.
It's
Yeah,
only,
'cause
only a matter of time.
I do love, yeah, I do love something that's just, yeah, highly stylized.
Yeah.
May, maybe something that's even a touch maximalist. That could be fun too.
Yes. Maximalist is my favorite
Yeah, yeah,
personal aesthetic
yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a film called The Dressmaker. Did you ever see that? Kate
Mm-mm.
Winslet.
No.
That's lovely.
Okay.
I'd call it maybe even more surreal. That and then another
Uh-huh.
film called The Fall.
Oh,
And that they
okay.
just re-released
Taking
it. But
notes.
yeah,
Okay.
one of my faves. Yeah,
Okay.
The Fall. Really stunning costumes.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's all the time we have. I'm sure we could go on forever. We'll check back in after when you can talk about Dark Winds and the Burrows, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
when you can talk about those. I love it when people get on and they're like, I'm doing this and this, but I can't, and things I can't talk about. Yes.
Those
So
NDAs are no joke. We can't.
I know.
Disclosure agreements
It
are a
makes it
thing.
kind of exciting, a little mystery to the
Yeah,
program.
a
Yeah.
little bit of
So
mystery.
we'll bring you
Yeah.
back then.
Sounds good. Maybe next time I'll interview you.
Okay, okay, maybe so. Okay, thanks so much, Angelique. You're the
All right.
coolest, and I can't wait to see you in person again. This has been Film Talk Weekly Radio. I'm your guest host, Castle, with the Santa Fe International Film Festival, and this has been Angelique Paull, costume professional for over 20 years. Check out Weld Works,
Workwear.
Weld Workwear, WELLD, workwear.com.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay. We are Weld, WELLD, on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah. And otherwise, people can see your films that we talked about.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
And I will see you at the fest.
See
Thank
you
you
at
so much,
the
Castle.
fest.
Thanks for having
Okay.
me.
Thanks, Angelique.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.